Hey, it's Dan, and welcome to Unified Gaming. So in this one, I want to share you Shadow, the 1-bar edition. This is a melee nightblade that has crazy speed, really high burst damage, and is a real blast to play. It is a ganker, it's designed to get in and out, kill people really fast. This is not a brawling build, and we do abuse proc sets, and we have Oaken Soul. So you will need to have access to High Isle, as well as Greymore and some DLCs, so ESO Plus is kind of a sort of a must for this. As with my builds and stuff, if you like what I do here, you want to sort of stay up to date, then like, comment, share and subscribe. And as always, a massive thanks to all the people on Patreon who help make the videos possible. If you want to support myself there and get access to the content early and much more, there's details down below. But what are we doing on this build? For the race, you want to be a Khajiit. Khajiit has two big advantages. You get obviously damage and you get crit damage, so that's the big boost. Crit damage is really nice, and you also get decrease your detection radius and stealth by 3 meters because of the feline ambush passive. This is incredibly useful. We then have Lunar Blessings, which is more health, magic and stamina, and some recoveries. But the big one is the ambush. The best way to look at it is Khajiit is big burst, Dark Elf is the alternative, and that's just consistent damage. Both are really good, but I prefer Khajiit. For my stat page, I have 32 points in health and 32 in stamina. If you want to eke a bit more damage, you can go more in stamina, but you get very little damage out of this. So it's better to go with the health, in my opinion. It just covers you if things go wrong. For my Munderstone, I use the Steed. On the 1-bar edition, we do need access to high speed, and we don't have the bar slot for like race against time, for example. So we do want the extra speed if you can. If you do put on race against time, however, you might then want to change one of the Munderstones to something like the Lover, which is really good damage. For my consumables and what I do with this, I use Tri-Potions. It's a must. It's just health, magic and stamina, really good. Or you could use, and for the food, sorry, you could use Jaws of Mistral, which is max health and it's stamina and magical recovery, which is great. Or there's a gold version of it which costs more, but Jaws of Mistral kind of is very close. As with the skills, Oaken Soul, 5 skills, not many options. This is what we're trying to do to get good burst. Wrecking Blow gives us major berserk, 10% damage boost, it's huge. We then get Concealed Weapon. This is another 10% damage boost when you come out of stealth, so this hits really hard. If you look at our tooltip, so we whack this, our Concealed Weapon is 12,000, really high. And of course we can spam that a couple times, so that's a really good one. We then have Healthy Offering, so some kind of heal. You could use this as a big burst heal, or if you are more patient and you want a bit more defense, you could go Resolve and Vigor. The only downside is that you have to obviously wait for this to heal you, whereas the other one is just push the button, you've got some health, you might be able to go back again. Both are really good options, but you need a heal. You need Shadowy Disguise. This gets you into Cloak. It's really good. You get major crit damage, so crit chance, which is really good, and you get the guaranteed crit from stealth. So you pop this, you hit somebody, you get a critical hit. Really nice. And then to give us the infinite sustain that Nightblade now has, Siphoning Strikes is phenomenal. You take health and you turn it into magicka and stamina. Really good. And then for the ultimate, Incap is a great ultimate to use. It's really hard hitting. It hits them with disease, which can proc Defile, which is nice because it reduces healing and shields. It can stun them. Really good skill. If you don't want to use this, then you can run a skill of your choice. Sounds silly, but Soul Tether is quite nice because it's AoE. So you can do your combo, Wreck and Blow, Concealed Weapon into Soul Tether, and they can't dodge that because it's AoE. Really nice. Me personally, I quite like Incap. The alternative is Dawnbreaker. Dawnbreaker is nice because Dawnbreaker of Smite and Stuns is an AoE, so they can't dodge it. It has a big dot. If you do struggle to get the kill, you've got a huge dot to just help keep them low. And from the skill tracker passive, you do 10% damage to werewolves and vampires, and if they're a player, it's 20%. So this is really good. It means Dawnbreaker basically has a 20% damage boost to it. Really strong. So Out of the 3, Dawnbreaker is my leaning because it's just passive damage, which is nice. And then you also get extra ult gem when you kill people, which is nice. And it's an AoE and can't be dodged. Incap is also very good. Both are great options. But that are the skills. I'm now going to go through the CP really quick. For the blue ones, it's Fighting Finesse. That's just critical damage. Master at Arms, direct damage. Deadly Aim, single target damage. And Wrathful Strikes, more damage. You can see it's just damage, damage, damage. If you can get behind people all of the time, swap Wrathful Strikes for Backstabber, you get more damage. But if you're not behind them all of the time, you do lose damage. So Wrathful is a good, it covers most bases basically. For the red ones, Survival Instincts, makes sneak, roll dodge, block, CC break cheaper if you have a status on you. Pain's Refuge, this makes you tankier if you have negative effects on you. Sustained by Sovereign, which is just recovery, really great. And then Bastion is a kind of flex. Bastion gives you more damage to shielded targets, which is why we use it. If they have a shield, we do more damage to them. If you don't want to use this though, you could swap this out. Go for Celerity, which is a great option. That pushes your movement speed up to 60% whilst in combat. 62% I think it is. And if you're not in combat, with the green one, Steed's Blessing, we're now on 82% movement speed with this setup. Really, really fast speed. And sustaining shadows is really good for just getting around fast. One thing to note is we are a vampire stage 3. That is really important for this build because we do have lower resistances. So by being a vampire, you get access to this passive called Undeath. This is like a defensive set. It's really, really strong. And it's kind of a must in my opinion. The last thing now to go through is the sets and so on. Obviously, if you've liked the video and stuff, then let me know down below by liking, commenting, sharing and subscribing. And as I said, if you want to support myself on Patreon to get access to content early, exclusives and much more, there's details down below. But for the sets, we are using Cinders of Anthamur, I think it's pronounced. You want a sharpened trait and you want an Oblivion damage glyph. The Oblivion damage will give you the most damage possible against the more healthy meta which we're currently in. Most people have 30-35k health. This is the hardest hitting glyph. You could use a shock glyph which can proc vulnerability, which will give you more net damage if you proc the status, but you're not guaranteed to. By using this set, you get penetration, damage, damage. And when you damage somebody, you summon a big morph that just does loads of damage. That's pretty much it. We then use One Piece Krog for more penetration, and all of our bodies should be divines. And we've then gone with Tarnished Nightmare, which when you do critical damage, we get guaranteed crits. This procs. Really good set. For the setup of this, you basically just want to stack as much medium as you can, which means you put one of the cinders on the waist and all the tarnish on the body. Krog on the head. You could go with heavy armor and lose a little bit of damage for a bit more max health from Undaunted, but it's not worth it. And then for the jewelry, it is cinders on the jewelry and Oaken Saw on the bottom. The traits for these are Swift, because we can't have access to movement speed buffs on this. We just don't have bar space, so we need the speed. So I would use Swift for this. And then it's all just damage glyphs on the jewelry. For the body pieces, it's all max stamina, but if you really wanted, you could go and put triglyphs. Our stat pages look like this: 14,800 magicka, 28k health and 21k stamina. If you go with triglyphs on this build, it is expensive. You might notice my money is ridiculously high. This bit is on the PTS server, so just do factor that in. But if you did want to go with triglyphs, I would suggest it personally. I think it's worth it on an Oaken Saw build, in all honesty, because it gives you so much more max resource to work with. Then your stat page would look something like this. So we've had 14,000 magicka. We now have 16,700 magicka, 30,000 health and almost 20,000 stamina. Significant increase, but significant increase in cost. So it's really, do you want to spend the money or not? If you don't, just mix of magicka stamina will work, but tri-stat is the way to go. And you could just go try on the head, the chest and the legs. If you don't have access to these sets, what can you use instead? I have been asked this already. I would suggest using Shattered Fate. It's a crafted set, and then use something like Way of the Fire as an alternative. Way of the Fire essentially where the Way of the Fire on the jewellery here, one on the chest and on them all, and then Shattered Fate on all of the other pieces. And that way you won't get the same damage, but it'll be close enough. I'm going to go into IC now just to show you what the speed is like and also the damage. And if you haven't seen the double bar version of this, it is on the channel and I would suggest checking it out. It is more damage, but this is how you can make it a 1 bar build if you really want to just use Oak and Soul and not worry about sustain and buff management and all that kind of complexity. So with using a 1 bar build, you do sacrifice stuff, as you'll see in a minute, but I've done the best we can to keep the same flavour and the same killing potential within reason. You will notice we do not have an execute on this one compared to the other 2 bar version, so that is important to note. So we are going to use concealed weapon. All you do is you find your target, you go into cloak, wreck and blow, and then concealed. You'll see that the wreck and blow basically one-shots the things really, really fast. What's really good with this is that you've got the crazy movement speed to move around really fast. And I'm going to show you against a more tanky target, so 101k health here. Cloak, wreck and blow concealed, and then concealed again. So you can see the damage is there. You got a good amount of damage. It's not as high as the other one, obviously, but it's still good. I'm just going to show it against some guards as well, so you've got some idea over there. So these are our ones. We're going to go to the blue ones really quick. And just once more against this Grievous Twilight. So cloak, wreck and blow, light attack concealed, light attack concealed, light attack concealed. So the damage isn't as high because there's no execute, but it is close enough. And the last comparison, as I say, is against the guards, because that last video showed it really well, that you can one-shot a guard group. Can we do it with this? We'll find out right now. We'll find the guard. Wreck and blow. Concealed. 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 So that's the entire group dead. So it shows you the damage is there. You are obviously more vulnerable because you have less bar slots and so on, but this definitely works. I'm going to call it here though, so if you like this type of a video where I kind of give you 1 bar versions of popular builds that I make and stuff, let me know down below and I keep doing that. I want to say a massive thanks to everyone that has subscribed and commented and stuff. It really, really helps more than you realise, and an even bigger thank you to all the people on Patreon. If you want to support myself and get access to videos early, there's details down below. But as always, I'll catch you in the next video or the next stream. Thanks for watching guys, take care, and bye!